Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hi, this is HP from Noise Junkies.
And this is Father Malone from Dark Destinations.
Please join us as we examine one of the greatest sitcoms in television history, Taxi, on Night Mr. Walters, a Taxi podcast.
Good night, Mr. Walters. Weirding Way Media.
Now check this one if you will. Tonight we offer you the sour fruit of a scientist's failure. For there are apparently some things that can't be accomplished. And therein lies the tale and hangs the picture. In this, the Night Gallery.
All right, welcome back, art lovers, to Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, where we discuss Night Gallery, Rod Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone. I'm Father Malone. With me here in the gallery are the projection booth's Mike White.
I'm just here with my goat for a little bit of dinner.
And what a goat it is. Also joining us is the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
I've got a pair of hungry eyes. Are you interested?
Everyone will be, evidently. Now, this is season 3. We've reached the top of the mountain. This is the final season of Night Gallery. Now, at the end of season 2, the studio Universal decided it would produce a half season of Night Gallery, which it did. And their thought being that they would split the previous 2 season hour-long episodes into half-hour-long episodes in order to syndicate it quicker. But they discovered that would leave them with only 72 episodes, and you need at least 90 to start stripping. So they took another show that they were going to cancel, The Sixth Sense, which was an hour-long paranormal drama starring Gary Collins. They split those into half hours, now totally baffling half hours of that show, retitled them as Night Gallery, and then they went so far as to have Rod Serling record bogus gallery introductions for these Sixth Sense episodes. So for decades, there have been a fair amount of people out there convinced that Night Gallery had a dramatic through line with some bizarre standalone episodes. There were some other changes this season. Jerry Feinerman is now the director of photography on the show. Fun fact about Jerry Feinerman, he was a feature film director of photography. Then he was in a plane crash in which he was the sole survivor and decided he would never travel again and decided he would get into television. We've got a new title sequence this season. It's by Wayne Fitzgerald, who did the original one. He decided to focus solely on the paintings this year. It's not great. It's nowhere near the weird and sort of bizarre carnival vibe of the first one.
It's that music. The music is terrible.
Oh my God, Mike, go one further. The music is an affront. The music is an affront. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You do know this is annoying, right? It's not even like a question of, oh, I just don't like this. Subjectively, this is not my thing. It's objectively, this is a bad idea. And it is not only grating, but it's a choice. And when someone says something is a choice, that is never a positive way of saying it. It's almost the nicest way to say, you fucked up big time.
Yeah, this is the new score. It's by Ed Sauter, who was introduced at the end of last season, did a couple of episodes there. Jack Laird hired him for the rest of the run of the series. He now will do the music for every single episode for the rest of the run. His idea was to give us a musical cue at the beginning of the show that would induce panic. He succeeded. It's a really bad idea. It's the only music theme that comes on that makes me want to turn the channel. Not great.
No, and thank goodness that Plex has that skip intro thing, because man, as soon as that comes up, I'm hitting it hard.
And it makes me realize how close the original theme could have been to being grating and obnoxious. But it's so masterfully done the first time around, the first two seasons, that this is just like, it seems like such a bad choice for a number of reasons.
Also, Mike Road was our quasi-narrator last year, the guy who came in and said, on tonight's episode, he's gone, replaced by a fellow by the name of Stanley Waxman, who was also on 2 episodes of Night Gallery. He was an actor in the episodes The Academy and Dear Departed. Now, because of the shakeup here, splitting hour-long episodes into half hours, we've decided to continue that by reviewing a full hour here. So on every episode of Midnight Viewing for the 3rd season, we're reviewing 2 episodes of Night Gallery.
Question. When Rod comes out and does his introduction, is he doing that for a full episode? It feels like he keeps saying, our first painting tonight.
Yeah, he does keep saying that. That's weird. I don't know the reasoning behind that yet, other than maybe he's just used to saying it, or the scripts were written with an eye toward an hour long and then they just split it and didn't do any revising, which is very likely. What I find very unusual about this whole shakeup is that they clearly didn't want to spend one more dime on the show that they had to, but then they had a new credit sequence and theme commissioned.
We all know that they don't make any sense over there in Hollywood. Come on now. It's weird to me, the changes that they've made. And it's weird to me that Rod Serling is still here, frankly. Like, of all the things that are surprising, the fact that Rod Serling is still here is the most surprising. Because this is the point where I'm just like, oh, boy, the quality. It's like Twilight Zone 1985 season 3. It's the same thing. Just like, you have done a complete retooling of what this show is, and I'm not sure that a retooling wouldn't have been better than just like it going away. It going away, you know. Again, not commenting on these episodes specifically, just saying sometimes it's better to just, sometimes Dad is better. Sometimes it's better just to let the show be done. And 2 seasons, again, not commenting in a roundabout way about the episodes at all. Just saying sometimes you don't have to keep doing it. I get why they did, because money, late stage capitalism, but.
Yeah, it is a bit of turnabout is fair play, however, because Jack Laird in the 2nd season kind of shoved Rod out of the way and asserted creative control. And at the end of that season, Universal stepped in and said, yeah, we'll take it from here. So,
in the area of the occult, it's customary to preoccupy ourselves with witches. And too infrequently, we dabble on the male side of that time-honored profession, the sorcerer. On display here is a painting showing the natural habitat of this species of black art practitioner. Dark alley, murky light, a few sundry skulls, and the gentleman himself on the right of the picture with the upraised hand and the funny little goat horns. Yes, indeed, this is a sorcerer. And for those of you who disbelieve his existence, we invite you to check this out for a little while. Our painting is called The Return of the Sorcerer, and where better place for him to return than right here in the Night Gallery.
Rod wants us to check this out. It's Return of the Sorcerer. This was season 3, episode 1, released on September the 24th, 1972. It was written by Halstead Wells, based on a Clark Ashton Smith short story, and directed by Jeannot Zwark, or Jean Zwark.
I noticed that, yeah.
He'll be known by the more sophisticated and way easier to say Jean Zwark for the rest of the season. This one stars Vincent Price, This is his second appearance on Night Gallery. Tisha Sterling, her first, and Bill Bixby, special appearance by Bill Bixby, and his second appearance. In this one, Bill Bixby is hired to translate an ancient text by a sorcerer. What could go wrong? What'd you think of this one, Mike?
I was very confused by this one. I kept trying to figure out the power dynamics between Tisha Sterling and Vincent Price. And then there's this whole talk about Vincent Price is a twin, and he cut off his twin's head, and the head is someplace. And I'm just like, this sounds far more interesting than a translation story. And then this goat keeps showing up, and I'm like, Bill Bixby is okay with this. I mean, $750 a week, is that what he's making?
Yes.
I'd be okay with that as well, because
I'd be okay with that now. In 1972, that was the equivalent of $5,500.
Holy cow. Wow. I mean, I guess he's not going to be around to spend it, is the thing, is because the person who translates the stuff is supposed to have all these horrible things done to him. Or is he?
Yeah. Nice handoff there at the end.
I mean, is it just me, or is it very confusing?
Oh, yeah. It's all over the place. It's Clark Ashton Smith, who's just trying to emulate his idol, H.P. Lovecraft, but not really understanding what H.P. Lovecraft was doing.
Right. That's what it felt like. It felt like Lovecraft Light to me.
Lovecraft Light or Lovecraft? 2 words, love crap. You know what I mean?
Oh, he went there. He went there.
Can he say that?
Pull his license.
For me, it ultimately comes down to, once again, we have a story of a man with a secret who brings someone else in to help him solve that secret. I feel like we've seen this story in the end of season 2 a lot. And now it's like they're opening season 3 with it. And the biggest shame is that it's Vincent Price more than anything else. It's like, let's just get Vincent Price to mug for 30 minutes. That's what this feels like. A lot of close-up shots of Vincent Price mugging for the camera, which is fine, but there's not a story there per se. It's just a lot of, I don't know, it's a lot of gothic looking settings and not a lot of story to go along with it.
I think there are quite a lot of problems with this episode, and yet I fucking loved it. I really had a good time with it.
Wow.
Yeah, just beginning to end. I know this is the setup we've seen 1 billion times, but I think Jean Swark is doing fucking great work here. The opening shot, not the opening shot, but the first time he steps into that house, it's all drenched in red, and Bixby is framed in the jaws of a crocodile. That he would have used a split diopter if they could have afforded. When Vincent Price mentions he was a twin, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're getting 2 prices for the price of 1. This is going to be fucking fantastic. Fern is the female character in it, the Sterling character. And when we meet her, she's wearing a thermal shirt with a star on it, right? The star is obviously added by wardrobe. It's a slate thermal shirt with a blue star. And I think it's there to clue the audience into the fact that she has more than a passing familiarity with magic. But it also kind of subtly clued me into that famous shot of Sharon Tate from Esquire magazine back in 1967. She's wearing a white shirt with a red star. It got talked about a lot a decade ago because on Mad Men, Megan Draper's character wore the same shirt as Sharon Tate, and it was on purpose, and people were thinking she was going to be murdered. It turned out to be nothing. But it's probably a coincidence here, but I hope it's by design because they've inverted the Sharon Tate shirt, and that's what this is, because we end up with this character doing the sacrificing. Anyway, that might be more ominous than the episode deserved, but it was on my mind the moment she opened the door. As much as I am praising Jean Swark for that opening scene, the second scene is fucking atrocious. The lighting is the most garish lighting I've seen on any episode of Night Gallery ever. It looked like the crew from The Price is Right lit the scene. You could see all the flaws and all of the set decoration behind Bixby and Price. By the way, Bixby and Price is my YA detective novels.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I love a plot where there's an unseen force like slowly approaching, and they do that here with the sort of sliding, the scraping sound that's slowly approaching, which my favorite thing is the Fern's character tries to explain it away by saying, it's just rats, as if that's preferable to whatever else is there. Oh no, it's just a wall full of rats.
Right.
Bixby is hired to translate this book, and he has to do so in this main sacrificial chamber on the altar with 7 candles burning. Could I take the book to my room? Would that be okay? They explain that other translators have come and they've done the translation and they've fled. To prevent that, Vincent Price has armed himself with a revolver, right? He's going to make this guy speak the thing, but...
Makes sense.
Yeah, but...
Logically follows. You're a rich guy. You can get away with it, right?
Oh, yeah. You could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. You'd get away with that.
You wouldn't lose any demons involved.
No, and there's magic involved here. But the thing is, Bixby has written the translation down. I'm assuming the other translators did as well, unless they were keeping the entire quatrain or whatever the fuck it is in their heads. So
quatrain.
Why doesn't he just say, hand me that, and I'll read it? I don't. Okay, anyway.
But there's not an invocation if he just hands him a telefax and goes, read it, bub. Like that. There's none of the horse shit of Bill Bixby being, I'm confused as to what's going on. And wait, what does it say? It's like, there's none of that if he just goes, here you go. Like, it's so, a lot of this requires one party to know what's going on and the other to have literally no idea. It just normally isn't the audience. We're not normally supposed to be the ones that have no idea.
That's true.
It's supposed to be the characters. Like, yeah, the characters, I feel like the characters know about more about what's going on than we do. And they never get that across to the rest of us. There's a lack of exposition in this episode, shockingly.
I like, though, how specific the curse is. Like, it has a preamble cursing the reader of it, and then it has a clause that seems to relate directly to Price's situation. It's like he thinks he's scot-free until he reads the dismemberment codicil, like, oh no, even if I cut him up, god damn. And then
flayed alive across hot coals or something.
Yeah,
oh my god.
It goes hard.
Yeah, man.
At the end of the scene, before the brother shows up, Vincent Price goes catatonic and he's just sitting there. And all I thought was like, what a wonderful piece of furniture. I'd love to have a Vincent Price in like the corner of the room.
I think speaking of furniture, my favorite piece of furniture was the hands with the candles sticking out of the walls.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice piece of set dressing. Although, again, if they were trying to go for the interchamber of Anton LaVey, I don't know how well they managed, because I'm sure his room was very red. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like the main chamber, but it is a little on the nose, I feel like.
That felt a little Wonka-y to me.
Right. Like, it's over the top.
Here's the kids' version of Satanism, maybe, or Azathoth, maybe, or any number of names we're gonna spew out during this episode. That when Bixby and Fern first get together, now before we figure out what Fern's intentions are here, he says to her at the end of the scene, "Can I depend on you as a friend?" And I thought, like, are those words magic? Because it's the easiest pickup line I've ever seen. She immediately like falls into his arms. I'm like, whoa, okay. I guess friendship means a little something different in their house.
Hey, friendship is magic.
I can't not love this and recommend this segment, this episode, because it has one of my favorite exchanges in the entire exchange and transition in the series, where Bixby says, "What makes you think I'll stay?" And Vincent Price says, "Dinner." And then it cuts to a close-up of a black goat eating from a plate, sitting in a carved wooden chair at a table that wouldn't be out of place at like Wayne Manor. Oh, by the way, Falling Tower. I called it a goat. Forgive me. His name is Falling Tower, and he's Vincent Price's father. And then that's the last mention of that fact.
Yes. That's the best part of the entire episode, is the goat eating at the table. Like that alone is a visual that's worth seeing, especially that transition. But it never lives up to the lofty goals of a goat eating at the table, Yeah. The heights of a goat consuming whatever, like fucking risotto, is never reached again.
Evil Vincent Price shows up. Now they got to sacrifice good Vincent Price, good being a relative term. And I noticed that they cut to an above shot of the altar, and there's like disco floor. The altar had a disco floor underneath it, lights in red and blue and yellow just flashing away. I'm like, wow. Some nights it's a disco, some nights sacrificial chamber. If Vincent Price knew Fern was the culprit, knew she was pulling the strings, what was all this charade about? That's the confusion, Mike. Like, the power ends up being like, what is happening here? And here's a fun fact. If you read the original short story, Fern isn't in it.
Oh, really?
And the Vincent Price character, and then the Vincent Price brother shows up, and then That's it. You don't suppose there's anything in that preamble about the reader being dismembered? You don't think there's anything to that, do you? No, Bill. You're going to be fine with her.
Hey, she knows that actress knows how to hold a frog, though, or a toad, I guess. Walking around with that toad in her hand, that whole scene.
Last season we had Richard Thomas, and I mentioned like I couldn't tell if he was giving a good performance or not. I feel the same way about her.
She reminded me a lot of Blythe Danner for some reason while she was talking.
Like facially, in that sort of that airy demeanor, but I couldn't. Sometimes I thought she was really good, and then sometimes I was like, God, she's awful. I mean,
I can't imagine how much they spent on candles for this episode.
Where's any of this money coming from? My God.
Well, I was going to say, they spent all the money on candles that they didn't spend on the sound effects, because no owls and hooting, no werewolves, no nothing this episode. Lack of fun sound effects even. They weren't.
We did get Castle Thunder briefly at the beginning.
Oh, right. Once.
That's just because that's a union thing. Castle Thunder has to appear at least once.
I was just waiting for like a hooting owl or something just in the background incessantly, because, you know, the show likes to do that too. So
we did get that scraping, slurpity, I'm coming to get you, my feet and hand are coming to get you. That was a good effect, by the way, the dismembered hands. And
it looked pretty good.
Like crawling and stuff. It looked great. The foot looked fantastic.
And when he's there at the end and apparently the dismembered head is now back attached to the body and his face is all like corpse-like. I thought that looked really good. I thought it's Vincent Price. He knows how to hold his head and all that to really up the creep factor.
To me, this is a redemption for Vincent Price, because the last time we saw him was in that Class of '99 episode where he was just a moderator for the robots. Eesh.
Oh, yeah.
That was a waste of Vincent Price. I liked that story, like thinking back about it, but why him? Of all the people to have in that episode, why Vincent Price?
I think that was a studio thing where they were really pushing the guest stars for that season. It was the only thing they could think to help the show that they never understood to begin with. 2
out of the 3 here are pretty big stars. I mean, Bill Bixby and Vincent Price. So starting out the 3rd season, at least in terms of like visibility of who it is, pretty strong. So
let me welcome you to this parlor of paintings. We offer them to you for your enjoyment and edification. Feel free to dwell on them at your leisure and in your own good fashion. But kindly don't touch, because here they frequently touch back. Our number 1 painting in tonight's exhibit, this intriguing portrait of a young lady, curiously photogenic and hauntingly familiar. Recall seeing this face? You've seen it. On billboards and magazine ads, on television commercials. Oh, yes, you've seen it. But there are people who, having seen it, wish they hadn't. Our painting is called The Girl with the Hungry Eyes. And should I have failed to mention it, this is the Night Gallery.
Do we recall seeing that face? You bet we do, Rod. She's been in every season. The girl in question, The Girl with the Hungry Eyes. This is season 3, episode 2. Aired on October the 1st, 1972. Written by Robert Malcolm Young from a short story by Fritz Lieber. This one is directed by John Badham. The M is gone. Everyone's shedding things here in the 3rd season. It's just John Badham now. This one stars James Ferrantino, John Aston, Kip Niven, and Joanna Pettet as the Girl with the Hungry Eyes. This one features a photographer searching for the world's most alluring woman, and he finds her, and it doesn't go well. What'd you think, Chris?
I think Joanna Pettet was better the last time she was on the show. I don't think she was better the first time versus the second time. But I think that this is just, I don't know. It's not much of anything. It's just fine. It feels like a Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt episode. I feel like I've seen this story before, I guess is the problem. It doesn't feel unique or interesting or exciting. It just feels like it's just waiting to get to the twist at the end. Joanna Pettet's fine, and her chemistry is fine with James Ferrantino, but again, he just has to play this very specific kind of character, and she has to play a very specific kind of character in this story of she's a succubus or something to that effect. Like, it was fine. It was better than the last episode, that's for sure. For me, at least.
With these hungry eyes, one look at you and I can't disguise. I've got hungry eyes. I feel the magic between you and I. I couldn't stop thinking of the Eric Carmen song through the entire thing. Surprise, surprise. I really liked this one. I was very happy with everything that took place. Yeah, it's a little muddy at times as far as what are her powers and these kind of things, but man, oh man, did I like John Aston in this when he starts talking about how there's that face that he's looking for his beer ad, and it has to be this kind of construct that all men have put together, and it's this perfect woman, but yet you feel scared and all of these emotions whenever you look at her. And yeah, that was kind of cool. I liked him showing up, and it was very unclear at the end that she kills him, kind of just thrown out in dialogue. But I did like James Ferrantino, and especially his buddy when he's just, yeah, no, you can't talk with this chick. And his buddy is so mad at him. Richard, is that his friend's name?
Yeah,
And
Kip Niven is the actor.
yeah, and then he gets killed off. The maybe murderer in the park, I did enjoy that one as well. Yeah, I really actually liked this episode.
I'm with you, Mike. I really liked this episode. I can't believe season 3 is shaping up for me the way it is. Chris, you mentioned that we've seen this story before. You're goddamn right. We've seen it 1 million times. This is basically just the old Japanese Yuki Onna snow woman tale, which, if you don't know it, it's a man meets a demon in a storm, and she saves him from a blizzard, but swears him to secrecy of its existence. Years later, he meets a woman. They fall in love, have children, live their life. He tells his wife the secret. The wife is the demon, and there are many variations in the story. Either she kills him and the kids, or she kills him and takes the kids, or she leaves both them and the kids. It was adapted back in '65 in a gorgeous supernatural anthology called Kwaidan. It was adapted in 1968 in a movie just called Snow Woman. Akira Kurosawa had an anthology film in 1990 called Dreams. He had a segment that also featured it. It's also called Yuki Onna. That same year, Michael McDowell, the guy who wrote Beetlejuice, adapted the same story for Tales from the Dark Side's movie, except in this, the guy is a sculptor and the snow woman is a gargoyle. So it's the exact same story we get here. In fact, she even lays down not don't tell anyone, but don't follow me. It's so same sort of pattern here, which I instantly recognized and I liked. I like what you said, Mike, like the John Aston speech, this sort of idea of like mass consciousness focusing something into existence is a really great idea. And I love it. And I love it that it was used here, like in conjunction with an old kind of myth. This, I think, is the best directed episode of the entire series of Night Gallery. It is really spectacular. Transitions alone, that scene with John Aston, the scene ends on a model of a billboard and they dissolve to a real billboard, and it's perfect.
I loved it. Yeah.
It was so spectacular. There's an entire sequence when we first meet Joanna Pettet. It's a photo shoot sequence, the editing in it, the camera work, it's really a sight to behold. James Ferrantino's best friend, he mentions one of his clients is Bimini Swimwear. And I just kept repeating that phrase over and over again. Like, those look comfortable. What are they? Bimini Swimwear. Bimini Swimwear, y'all. Anyway, this episode has now made me officially embrace day for night. I'm just considering it a house style here on Night Gallery. I'm not going to complain about it anymore. I'm going to be excited. From now on, when there's a day for night, I'm just going to be like, hey, did you see that day for night? It was great. Speaking of those transitions, this isn't even a transition. Late in the episode, there's a character standing on the street and there's a print ad of Joanna Pettet like sticking off of a newspaper stand, and then she steps out from behind it. It's exact, it's perfect. Once again, given their budgets, given their time frame, this is a marvel that John Badham pulled this off. I'm going to have to reassess all of John Badham's films from now on. This episode really impressed me.
Adam is pretty great. There are those movies where you can feel like he's done for hire, but then there are the other ones where you're like, wow, he's putting a lot of style behind this. One of the most throwaway movies that you could ever have is that remake of La Femme Nikita, A Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda. I really like what he did with that movie.
I do too. And it seems like some sequences seem shot for shot like remake, but then John Badham takes over and it goes into a whole other direction. I agree. I like that movie as well.
Are you familiar with Fritz Leiber?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured you would. And it feels like he had either done this story before or it was maybe another adaptation of it, because I was looking up some of the other adaptations of his work, and there's one called want to say it's like Weird Woman, and it's basically, it sounds like it's from his novel Conjure Wife, and it's, let me read the description. While on a South Seas trip, a professor falls in love and marries an exotic native woman. What he doesn't know is that she was raised by superstitious natives who believe her to be some kind of supernatural being. So I imagine there's probably some.
He's working that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a theme that I wonder what his wife was like. My goodness. Now, the problem with this episode for me is, even though as much as I like it, is it's the same problem with every version of the Yuki Ono story, which requires a time jump that just strains. This is basically a blackout sketch. So we're already straining it to the point of snapping. And then when we meet her at the beginning, they're looking for the girl. And the next time we meet her, like the campaign is like a wild success already. And then we meet her again later. I remember when I saw Tales from the Dark Side in the theater, there's a time jump in that with a title card that comes up and says 10 years later. And somebody in the theater went, 10 years? As if they spoke collectively for all of us. No, you're pushing it. We can't go there with you.
You can only ask so much.
Yeah, when you're reading it on a page, that's one thing. Like, we're already invested in those characters a little bit. There's only so much makeup and gray you can throw on people. At the end, when Ferrantino has, okay, he's finally decided, he figured out the negatives. If he burns the negatives, he will destroy her. It's a good sequence, and it's a beautiful sequence. The effects are all weird and wonderful, and the effect of her burning and solarizing and becoming a negative herself was really kind of cool. But at the same time, Ferrantino is like yelling at her about how she's feeding off of our love. Piss up a rope, man. We're talking about a creature here that was like created out of lust and desire by a bunch of men. They were getting exactly what they fucking. She didn't deserve a morality lecture from you as she's on fire. Fuck off. He burns the negatives. She's on fire. He looks out the window and sees her billboard. The eyes are on fire. I guess the eyes are now going to burn, so they won't tempt any more men. That's great. Then we get this epilogue where he goes into his gallery and all the eyes on all of the photos are burning. Right? Because they brought it up. Should we also assume that in thousands upon thousands of offices and buildings and houses and condos and apartments, like everything is now spontaneously bursting into flame? They'd call it the Day of the Burning Eyes. It'd be a religious holiday. They'd put it on calendars.
Right.
All those billboards everywhere, every magazine, every poster, because he's got those big like pictures, blown up pictures of her all over his walls.
It would be endless. The idea that they kept giving us was that her face is fucking everywhere now, so the whole world's gonna burn. By the way, the scene with John Aston when we first meet him, and they're both drinking out of giant ceramic steins.
Oh, I loved that. It seems so surreal because I forgot that he was a beer magnate, and I was just like, this guy's got a keg in his office and these huge beer steins.
And you gotta know, every male viewer in 1972 went, oh, when they saw that keg, like, that exists?
I want that. Yeah.
Bimini swimwear.
Joanna Pettet, she's shown up 3 different times and given 3 very different performances. And I think this is probably the best one. That's for sure. In terms of first season, second season, third season. And this also, I think, is the best highlight of her abilities. I guess the one that she was in before she was having to act against her fake son. That was the whole thing, was that it was her son?
No, that was Sandra D. The last
well,
she was in House, the House with Ghost one. And
Right.
Kept dreaming about the
one
house.
directed by John Aston.
John Aston, yeah, so it's a weird little reunion here.
right.
The one with the guy that he's been dreaming of her and she's been dreaming of him.
Yeah.
Keep in touch, we'll think of something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one. That is the one where it's like that was such a nonsensical episode that I'm glad she came back and did something that, yes, maybe it's not the most creative thing that I've seen on this show, but it is better than the last time she was on here. That's for sure.
No, I disagree with you because
or the time before that, I guess.
There
right?
you go.
She came back.
Last time
She
was
in
Caterpillar, right?
Right. Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
She was opposite Lawrence Harvey. That's right.
Like Vincent Price, in my mind, redeeming himself from his earlier appearance. I think James Ferrantino redeems himself from his earlier appearance from Since Aunt Ada Came to Stay, which was a nothing episode, and he was not very good in it.
I really like all of his directing work. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. I really like these Ferrantino films.
That Ferrantino.
All right, with that, we're going to play a preview of our next episode, and we'll be right back to wrap things up.
Our artists and artisans take a rather pardonable pride in their work that you see hanging here. An example is this item here. It's called Rare Objects and represents that potpourri of collector's items that some men are prone to acquire. But there are collector's items and collector's items. Offered to you now an excursion into the very strange. Tonight's offering in the Night Gallery. Our paintings are in oils, watercolor, acrylic, charcoal, and occasionally formaldehyde. Case in point, this painting here. It's called Spectre and Tap Shoes, having to do with the nearly lost art of tap dancing. A said terpsichorean pursuit taking on an intriguing dimension when the dancer happens to be a ghost, as is so often the case in the sort of thing that you view in the Night Gallery.
That's right. On the next Midnight Viewing, we'll be taking a look at Season 3, Episodes 3 and 4. Those are Rare Objects and Spectre and Tap Shoes. Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, is a proud member of the Weirding Way Media Group, and our theme song was composed by HP. We've got a new theme song in addition to everything else Season 3 related. Hope you enjoyed that. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Chris Stachiw?
WeirdingWayMedia.com. That's where all the things that I work on can be found, including, but not limited to, the Culture Cast, Scary Stories We Tell, Kolchak tapes, all the things that I have worked on for the last almost 10 years now can be found at weirdingwaymedia.com. What about you, Mike White?
Ditto.
Hey, me too. All right.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. Hey, you know what? I never do this. Why don't you subscribe to us and give us 5 stars and all that kind of business? Because there's evidently algorithms involved. I don't understand.
Call to action.
Yeah, please share this. Give it to your friends. We love you. Good night.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.